Hello everyone and welcome to our presentation about the digital animation program at the University of Hertfordshire. My name is Martin Bowman and I'm one of the two joint program leaders of digital animation. This presentation will have three sections to it. The first will be a showreel of our best work. The second will be a PowerPoint presentation talking about the program in greater detail. And finally we will end by looking at a few examples of our award-winning films, animations and games. Firstly, we will look at the showreel, which is a selection of the best work of our students from across all our degrees. The digital animation program at the University of Hertfordshire is split into 4 degrees. There's the 3D animation of visual effects degree, which combines two of our previous degrees, both 3D animation and visual effects, to create one great CG generalist course. It teaches everything from character animation, modeling, rigging, lighting, compositing, look dev FX, live projects, visualization, photorealism, narrative storytelling, and film language. A huge selection there. And within that course, students will be able to pick pathways to specialize in certain areas of production in that field. To the right is our world-famous 3D Games Art and Design course, which teaches all aspects of high and low polygon modeling, real-time shaders and physically based rendering, character animation, level design, gameplay, scripting, game asset creation, everything you need to make video games. In the bottom left is the 2D animation degree, one of again, another award-winning program, which combines 2D computer animation and traditional skills such as character design and animation, backgrounds, compositing, motion graphics, a bit of 3D, some interactive games, again, narrative, storytelling, the history and the future of animation. Finally, in the lower right-hand corner is a new degree, Comics and Concept Art, and it's for those people who want to become concept artists and work in the industry, creating all the actual artwork which happens before everything goes into production. So it's for those people who are interested in working in games, visual effects, 3D, but creating the 2D artwork. But it's also about comic design as well. And those people want to tell visual narratives. If you're interested in that area, that's the degree for you. Now, the first year of our programme is what we call a common year. So all students, regardless of the degree they're on, will do a largely very similar first year. The reason for that is that we'll train you in all the aspects of all of our degrees, and by the end of that first year, you'll have had a go at every single degree we do, and then you might be able to say, the degree I started on actually isn't the one I really want to carry on with. I've found this new skill, something I'm really talented at that I've never touched before. In all my previous experience as an artist and a student, I had no idea I was really talented in this area. At that point, we say, well, in that case, transfer to that degree in our university that does that, and you just transfer to one of our other degrees and just fill out a piece of paper, and it's done. Really easy, and it's brilliant because a quarter of our students at the end of their first year will switch degrees. They'll have experienced a skill that we've shown them in the first year that makes them go, wow, I'm brilliant at this. I should do this in future. Or you say, yes, of course you should. And then they sign the paper and it's done. So what does the first year teach you? It teaches things like 3D modeling, look development, character environment design, comics, 3D and 2D animation, visual effects, games art, life drawing, storyboards, perspective, a huge amount of stuff. There's lots of other little projects as well underneath all that as well. We keep you very, very busy. In terms of teaching, you're looking at 4 to 4.5 days of lectures a week. We will set work every single night for you to do, and we will set work every single day of the weekend. The course runs 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and you don't sleep very often. Okay, there's a warning. Don't come here if you don't want to, if you don't really love this subject. Okay, you have to. Now, those of you who only move into the second year, then the course is split out into 4 sections. The 3D and VFX students, you'll be learning areas such as animation, modeling, rigging, lighting, rendering, compositing, medical visualization, visual effects, particles and simulations, technical direction and coding, and also our creative project. The creative project is a big project the second years make at the end of their second year, and it sums up everything that they've learned in the 2 years up until that point. And it might be a visual effects film, a 3D animation, a 2D animation, some sort of game. It could be a comic or art book. There's quite a wide variety of things you could do at this point. The game students, they learn about game design, game autopsy, scripting, level creation, character animation, world building, real-time assets, everything you need to construct a video game. The 2D students, again, heavily onto animation, but they also pick up a lot of storyboarding, layout, character design, performance, actually, the actual performance of the character, trying to bring that character to life. Interactivity as well, because that's a really important part of 2D animation. An awful lot of 2D animation is for interactive products. Motion graphics, which is another big area for this, and then again, their creative project. The comics and concept students, they'll be developing illustrative styles. They'd be designing characters, creatures, props, and environments. They'll be doing ZBrush sculpting and 3D paintovers, comic creation and industry context, learning how that works, and then creating digital comics and getting those published. And finally, in the third year, students focus on 2 main areas: getting a show reel together, which is a short animated film like the one you've watched before, of the best pieces of your work, which is what you show to industry to enable you to get hired. And also, you make a final major project. That could be a short animated film or a working game or a concept book or a comic, or all sorts of different opportunities are available there. And you just discuss them with us and negotiate what you wanted to make. So this slide has some artwork from our 3D animation and visual effects students. It just shows a few of the skills that we were taught on that course. Some artwork from 3D games art and design. Again, talk about all the areas that we'll cover with you if you come here. The 2D digital animation degree, which again has all the other areas that 2D cover, including like lip sync, performance, layout, all those sort of things. The comics and concept art degree, which is really about the visual narrative design, 3D digital sculpting, comics, character, prop and environment design, and digital comics. Now, amongst all of our degrees, we're teaching a variety of additional skills that are important to you. Imagination and creativity is a really important part of what we do. We look for it in all our applicants that you've got to have an imagination. You need to be a creative person, but we're going to push that further. We will teach you about lateral thinking, how to come up with amazing ideas and original concepts, all that sort of stuff, to enable you to create really original items. We do a lot of character design, everything from hand drawn beautiful things all the way up to completely rendered three-dimensional characters that run around like crazy and have loads of fur hanging off them, all sorts of stuff like that. So all sorts of styles, anything and everything. But those of you who are interested more about the background, the environment, the worlds those characters live in, we'll teach all those areas. And we cover everything from stylized paintings to real-time worlds and photorealistic landscapes. We're quite big on photorealism, to put it mildly. So if you're interested in that area, which is always an extremely desirable skill for a student to help them get hired, anything photorealistic, we'll teach those sort of areas. Photorealism for live action films, of course, visual effects, but we also cover areas like architectural, product, and medical visualization, what we call the serious parts of 3D, not necessarily the entertainment area. Now, this slide is about the production process. So, when students go to create a final film or a game or a production Bible, or whatever it is, they go through this process you see here. Now, this is a lot of work. This is 4 to 6 months working at least 6 days a week for a team of students and a very dedicated team of students. So, the 3D and visual effects process, like all of our processes, starts off with a narrative. If you don't have a good story, there's no point going any further. And we have staff who teach you in that area, developing story, who have plenty of experience in writing for commercials and for comics, and that sort of area. So you start with narrative, then you move on to concept drawings, and everyone does that. These are the first designs of hopefully what the final product's going to look like, and they're beautiful looking things, and they serve to inspire the team all the way through to production. The 3D people move on to storyboard and animatic. A storyboard is like a comic strip of your animation. It literally, you see, it's lots of hand-drawn frames, one for each shot. And an animatic is a filmed version of that storyboard. So every frame from that storyboard will be on screen for about roughly how long it would last in the film itself. And from that, you can begin to see how long your film will be and where the edits are and whether it feels exciting or not. Then they move on to pre-visualization. Pre-visualization is a three-dimensional sketched version of your film. So low quality stuff, nothing that the audience will ever see, and it's a huge growth area in the industry at the moment. Loads and loads of films, in fact, almost every Hollywood blockbuster is made in previs mode before it's actually even anyone goes and shoots film on set. There are companies who specialize in making the entire film fully in 3D so that the director and the producer can sit there and look at it and check every single camera angle. They know from that what kind of lighting equipment they'll need for a set, how large each set will need to be, whether they need specialist equipment like drones with cameras on, helicopters, cranes, dollies, all sorts of stuff like that, and they can cost the film perfectly from the actual previews. It saves millions and millions of dollars. So as you can imagine, everybody does it. Anyway, we do our version of it, and then if you're in VFX, if you're doing more visual effects pipeline, so working with live action, you would at that point be looking for casting locations and talent. You'd also go out and do some filming. The 3D side of things would carry on with modelling and texturing, and then moving on to rigging and animation. Rigging is the process of putting a digital skeleton, a muscle system, inside the character. So when you animate a character in 3D, you're not animating the surface that we see, just like a human being. When we move, it's the muscles that move. The muscles are stuck to our skeleton, so our skeleton acts like a scaffold, and the muscles drive that scaffold, and on top there's that nice skin layer that makes us look a lot more pretty. And it's the same thing in 3D, but you have to do it digitally, and it's a lot more complicated. And then you move on to lighting and rendering, which is about making the scene look beautiful and getting images out of the computer. Those images then go off to compositing, where they are made to look shiny and lovely, and you hide all the things that went wrong in the renders, and you add all the effects work at that point, and then finally editing and sound. Now, the 2D animation students have a similar pipeline: narrative, concept drawing, storyboard, animatic. They then move on to keyframing, which is drawing the most important keyframes in each sequence. Then after that is in-betweening, which is all the frames in between that. You really, by the way, if you're going to do 2D animation, you have to love drawing. This goes beyond what it says. A 2D animation can have up to 1,500 drawings for a minute of animation in it, and that's per character. Okay, so you really do have to love drawing if you come here. After in between there's cleanup, making everything look, rubbing all those little mistakes and sketchy bits that shouldn't have been there in the frames, and then they paint the backgrounds. They do compositing. In the cleanup they're also having the colour. They do compositing, which is again sandwiching, layering up all the characters, the background environments, and the effects work and things like that together to make it look fantastic. And then editing and sound. The game students, they again narrative. They start with concept drawings. They have a storyboard too. They then do something called grey boxing, which is the game's version of a pre-visualization. You build the entire world in grey boxes, hence the term grey boxing, and that's where you can just establish how large each part of each level has to be. The kind of character actually get through a doorway. You didn't find that out at that point. Do you need more pickups in some areas? You can actually make a whole playable game just in grey boxes, and it can be quite entertaining just move through it as an environment at that point. Then they move on to actually making the final 3D assets. They do all the coding, which is the really hard part, making it actually function. Then there's gameplay, trying to make the game fun, and finally testing, which is the kind of scary part when you get people who've never played the game before to play your game. And that's really one of those moments when you're making a game, you kind of feel like, oh my gosh, I do hope this will be good. I hope they'll like it. And then finally, sound. The comics and concept art students, they'll be working towards, again, a narrative, of course, because they need to tell a story in their artwork. Concept drawings, they will then make layouts and experimentation with the layouts for their comics and art books. They'll make thumbnails, sketches for that. Then when it says pencil and inks, in the old days, it was done with pencil and ink. These days, it's probably something digital. Okay, so again, drawing the whole thing out in pencil or pseudo pencil, and then inking the whole thing up afterwards. Finally, colouring, of course, and of course lettering for all this stuff, which is very important for comics. And then print or digital publication. Okay, other activities. We occasionally let the students have the labs. We take them to FMX in Germany, Annecy in France. These are all very famous animation festivals. Obviously, that's not including course fees. You have to pay for that on top. You have a really popular course forum, which is 3dhit.co.uk. You're welcome to join it. Those of you who are serious, who actually wanted to get on the course, I strongly recommend you do so. Get your work on there as fast as you can. Ask the students, help. What needs to be improved? What do I need to do better? And they're great people. Our students are lovely. They know how hard it is to get into our course, and they'll give you advice on how to improve things. Draw 2 more of those, or don't show the lecturers that drawing. That's not very good. Or choose a different colour palette for this one. Anything. They're lovely. They'll give you lots of great advice because they know just how hard it was, and most of them had to use 3D Hit to get in as well. We don't just teach the normal art class, we teach you acting classes as well. So if you want to be an animator, you've got to bring a character to life. And in order to do that, you need to know how to act. Okay, so we will teach you acting as well. We also do clay modelling. We don't just do life drawing like everyone does. Obviously, life drawing is very important, but we actually will teach you how to actually model the life model in clay as well, so you have gain a 3-dimensional understanding of the form, not just a 2-dimensional representation. We run extra art evening life drawing classes for those people who just can't get enough of being taught 4.5 days a week. You can go to additional evening classes as well. Industry visits. The industry comes to see us. We usually have at least one industry visit a week throughout the whole year. There's usually quite a queue of companies actually knocking on the door, constantly wanting to come and see us. They want to show us. They want to show you their work to impress upon you how much you really want to do. Come and work for them when you graduate, and they just want to show off, and they want to see you and see how good the students are, because they know that our university is one of the few universities in the UK that's actually worth hiring from, and so they come here en masse. So, the tutors who'll be teaching you, okay? We have a mix of industry visiting lecturers and full-time lecturers. Now, all our staff have worked in industry. We don't hire any lecturers that don't have prior industry experience. The average amount of experience among the staff members is about 10 to 15 years industry experience before they became a lecturer. So if you come to Hertfordshire, you're being taught by people who've actually done the thing they're teaching you. They've done it in the real world. They haven't learnt it from a book or from watching a YouTube tutorial. They actually know it themselves because they've actually been in production doing this stuff. So we have extensive 3D and 2D experience in TV, film, and games, including The Hobbit, Tintin, the Harry Potter films, Narnia films, Thor, John Carter, Man of Steel, Doctor Who, Casualty, GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Lord of the Rings, The Tiger Came to Tea, and many, many more. The animation staff have also won the Vice Chancellor's Award for enhancing the quality of the student experience and the success of our graduates. And one member of the animation staff has also won University Tutor of the Year Award, which is nominated and voted by students. And staff have nothing to do with it, and it's wonderful when they think you're so good they actually nominate you over any other lecturer. Okay, what software do we have? Pretty much everything. You can read the list. Blender, Maya, Houdini, Unreal Engine, ZBrush. There's Marvelous Design and Marmoset Toolbag. All the Adobe stuff, everything Adobe. Marai, Substance Designer, Quixel. We've got Nuke, Resolve, Deadline, Unity. And then for the 2D people, for 2D animation and comic stuff, there's Paint Tool Side, TV Paint Pro, Toon Boom Harmony Advanced, and Clip Studio. So that covers pretty much everything the industry uses. On a more physical resource base, we have 5 dedicated labs with over 270 computers with the latest software and hardware in them. We have Wacom tablets on every PC, plus Cintiqs in every lab. We have access to the green screen TV and film studio, so I should explain. The building we're in, the FMM building, has 3 floors. The ground floor is the film and TV students. That's their floor. We are the floor above, it's animation. And then the floor above us is the music students. We're beautifully positioned between the 2 other courses that we collaborate with all the time. So the music department, they're wonderful people. They create the soundtracks to all our animations and games. And the film students, we collaborate with them when we want to do live action shooting. And our students will work on their films and vice versa. So it's a great place if you want to mix and meet other people. We have Oculus Rift VR and Vive headsets for people who are interested in VR. As I said, we have access to music studios and sound recording facilities as well. We have our own render farm. So if a student's working in our labs, they're working on animation. Those of you who work in 3D know that the worst part of 3D is the wait at the end for the computer to finally generate the images you want to see. So what we do is we have a dedicated render farm, which is a rack-mounted system in the basement in a climate-controlled room of extremely powerful computers. So instead of you on the computer you're using sitting there waiting for it to finish rendering, you set it up to render, you send the job to the render farm, and the render farm just jumps onto your job and gets on with it. You carry on doing some other work on your computer, and when the render farm's finished, it sends you a message saying, bing, your renders are ready, and they're piping hot. So you just retrieve them and then carry on working. There's no slowdown, you don't lose any time. It's exactly how it works in industry. We also have motion capture in one of our rooms, so we can have 2 people interacting together, being motion captured. They can run around the room and act as much as they like, and we can turn them into digital 3D forms that move about on screen. We have 3D printers, so if you feel the urge that you need to see one of your digital creations actually as a form of plastic you can hold in your hand, you can print them out there. We also have 24-hour remote lab access via Teradici machine. Teradici are the animation industry standard for remote access to computer equipment. We have Canon 5Ds in our Lone Store. We also have Blackmagic 4K Ursa cameras, which are some of the best cameras money can buy for filming. And we also have 360-degree HDR lenses for those of you in the visual effects who like to capture light probe information. So, student prospects. Our 2D, 3D and VFX students are employed in over 300 companies worldwide. I won't read all of them out, the list is gigantic, but you can see things like Industrial Light and Magic, the people who made Star Wars, Jurassic Park, Aardman, the people who make Wallace and Gromit, there's Leica, there's Disney Production, DNEG, The Mill, Moving Picture Company, Frame Store, Third Floor, Animated Storyboards with Blue Zoo, there's loads. Every large and medium-sized company in the UK in the industry hires our grads. You can see one of our grads there, looking ever so handsome, holding the Oscar there, doing his best to pretend that he's the only person at NPC that won the Oscar for Jungle Book. But what happens when a company wins an NPC? Sorry, when a company wins an Oscar for visual effects? every single member of the company gets to have a photograph of themselves holding the Oscar as if they were the sole reason why the company won. But it's such a cool thing to have, and when it comes to social media and bragging rights, absolutely nothing beats a photo of you holding an Oscar. No one can hold you anything to you at this one. It's great, and loads of our graduates get to work on Oscar-winning films. So we've had graduates working on stuff, things like Star Wars, Last Jedi, Gravity, sorry, I can't speak. Gravity, Inception, Avatar, Box Trolls, Dark Knight, Hellboy, Thor 2, Guardians of the Galaxy, the Harry Potter films, the Narnia films, Prometheus, John Carter, Total Recall, Hunger Games, Godzilla, Game of Thrones series, you name it, our students have probably worked on it. Now, the game students, they also work all over the world at some incredible companies. In America, we have people at Epic Games. Epic Games are the people who make Fortnite, amongst others. There's Infinity Ward. They work at Cloud Imperium. In Japan, we have students at Square Enix, at Bandai, at Nintendo. In the UK and the EU, we have people at Electronic Arts, Activision, Frontier, Sony, Creative Assembly, Splash Damage, CD Projekt Red, Rare, all these loads and loads of game studios. We also have quite a lot of graduates go into what's called the visualization industry, which is the serious side of 3D. So we have people working at Bentley Motors, at McLaren F1, Taylor James at Foster and Partners. Foster and Partners are the biggest architects in the world. At Burrow CGI and at Random 42, probably the world's largest medical animation company. Okay, we are accredited by the Rookies organisation, which is the world's largest animation competition. We're now accredited by them as one of only 23 courses worldwide held to this level of quality as being amongst the best in the world. The Rookies has an annual animation competition. It's quite gigantic. Over 500 universities and colleges and over 38,000 students take part in it. So it's an enormously prestigious competition, and we do phenomenally well at it. This year, just recently, we've become first place Game Design and Development School of the Year for Console PC Production Excellence. We came second place for Visual Effects and Animation School for Production Excellence as well. Both those awards we also won in 2019. We're currently rated as the third place for the top 2D animation school and colleges in the world. We're fifth best place in the world for visual effects. You can read, there's lots of other prizes there. We've also won, this year we won the Visual Effects Film of the Year, the People's Choice Award for Visual Effects Film of the Year. We won Console and PC Game of the Year. We've won that 4 times. If you go back to 2019, you'll see we've won quite a lot of other prizes there. I'll go to the next slide, and you'll see the prizes we've won in 2018, 2017, and 2016. Good selection there. So like I say, we've won Game of the Year 4 times. We've been awarded Game Design Development School, Console PC Production Excellence twice, and Game School of the Year once, a record that no other university in the world has achieved. We are the highest rated course in Europe for 2D animation. We've won more awards than any UK university in the annual worldwide rookie competition. We are also accredited by Side Effects as a Houdini certified school. Houdini is probably the most important and most famous 3D animation package in the world at the moment. We are one of only 2 schools in the UK that have this level of award, and the award is actually judged by the visual effects industry. They choose whether a university gets to be able to claim to be Houdini certified every year. We are also Tiger approved. Tiger is the Independent Games Association. It's a trade industry association for the games industry, and they've awarded us the Best Educational Institution Award in their 2019 awards. So we are the best games art course in the UK, according to the games industry. We are CELECT approved. CELECT is a French organisation of the 200 best film schools in the world, and they rated us as part of that. We are now we're under their organisation as well. We are rated one of the best film schools in the world. AnimationCareerReview.com rated us for 2019 as to be among the top 10 best places to study animation in Europe. Okay, now if you want to be famous, we're a good place to come to, because if you want to make an animation that goes out into the rest of the world and gets seen all over the world in animation competitions and festivals everywhere, please come here. Our animations have been shortlisted over 140 times worldwide now. in you know in competitions like the Visual Effects Society, the Royal Television Society Awards, Visual Media Shorts, Animex, Shanghai World Expo, British Animation Awards. There's all around the world. You've got Melbourne, you've got Tricky Women, that's in Austria. We have our animations go worldwide. If you'd love this idea of spending the year after you graduate, literally just going from country to country, from festival to festival, walking down the red carpet and having people clap at you and hopefully winning something, then this is the course for you. Okay, the government says we're good, which is a nice thing. They rate our teaching as being amongst the top 10% in the country for university teaching. So we have the TEF Gold Award as being one of the best universities in the UK for teaching. So you're not only being taught by people who really know the subject, but they also know exactly how to teach it to you in the best way so you will understand it and learn it quickly. Now, some nice animation industry quotes. Nice people in the industry have said some lovely things about us. So John Laws was head of art at Frontier. Um, The University of Hertfordshire is one of the few universities teaching the correct fundamental skills required by the games industry. You have the right mix of traditional theory and cutting edge digital art creation, and understand that tech is a tool rather than the end in itself. I'm impressed. Aidan Gibbons, VFX supervisor and director of the Mill. The University of Hertfordshire's visual effects work really impressed us on the live projects we ran with them. We feel their students are the ones to watch at graduation time. Tom Box, the co-founder of Blue Zoo, which is probably the biggest children's cartoon animation company in the UK. Blue Zoo takes great pride in working with Hertfordshire University's animation course. We consider it to be one of the benchmark courses that other universities should aspire to match. We have worked with the university for many years and still regularly visit the course over the academic year to give masterclasses, feedback to students' work and industry career advice. We are very reliant on the course of finding the best graduates in the UK, with some of our best senior staff graduating from the course and each year continually being a lead employer from the course. Harry Jones, the general manager of Electric Theatre Collective, said, "The quality of students you guys produce is the best in the UK as far as we are concerned, so well done." Okay, getting into the course, the hard part. Okay, we're looking for 112 UCAS points. That's kind of the easy bit. The hard part is the portfolio. Now, we really need to see an amazing portfolio. We want to see excellent traditional art skills, that's drawing, sculpture, painting, photography, and also excellent digital art skills, that's concept art, animation, modelling, that sort of thing. You really do have to be in love with your computer. We say this, but we really do mean it. Now, in terms of we need BBC at A level, or which is also the equivalent of DMM at BTEC Excellent Diploma, or a distinction in a UAL Level 3 Foundation Diploma, or any combination of the above to equal 112 UCAS points or more. You must have a Maths GCSE at grade C/4 or higher. We also recommend an English GCSE grade C or 4 or higher. Yeah, bags of enthusiasm. You really, really have to want to do this. We get over 1,000 applicants a year. We have about 100 to 120 places. That means that 90% of the people who apply don't get in. Now, if you want to be the kind of person who gets in, you have to eat, sleep, breathe animation, and you really have to create that portfolio, which is incredible. Do join our forum, 3dhit.co.uk, get your work on there, get it critiqued by the students, listen to everything they say, do everything they say, make it look better, always, because if you don't, there's someone else out there who will, and they'll get the place. Okay, and we have to reject 90% of the people who try and get in, so you really do have to be fantastic. And we're not joking about that. You really do have to be amazing. Now, other cool stuff we want to know from you. Do you have any additional skills that are useful to us? Acting. Have you ever acted in a film? In short films, that sort of thing? Acting skills are great if you want to be an animator. Musician. If you've got great musical skills, those are wonderful for an animator. If you understand rhythm and tempo and music really well, those are the same parts of the brain that govern rhythm and tempo in animation. When you animate, all animation is done to a beat. Sometimes that's a musical beat, but at the very least, it's always the beat pattern of the character when they move. So when characters move, they move to a rhythmic pattern. Okay, and if you understand that rhythm in music, you'll also understand how when the rhythm is either right or wrong in your own animation. And we find that musicians tend to make good animators. 3D software, we don't care what 3D software you've been using, just show us the work. Programming, that's useful to us. If you've been using programming to create custom tools for 3D software or anything, that's interesting. Film studies, if you've made your own films, if you've directed them, if you've produced them, if you've written the scripts for them, whatever, this is all interesting additional skills to us. And animation, Any kind of animation, traditional or digital, is all good for us to see. Okay, the painful bit, fees. Well, like every other university, we're charging £9,250 a year for September 2021. UK applicants do not need to pay any of the fees when they enrol. The UK government will lend the cost of the entire course. Many applicants are also eligible for maintenance loans to cover rental and living costs. Now, the loan you're going to be borrowing, this is where those of you who are sitting there with parents listening to this, get your parents to explain exactly how much this is going to cost you. Because over the 3 years of study here, you're going to spend the amount of fees plus also living expenses. So the course is going to cost you between £30,000 and £50,000 over 3 years. Now, the government's going to lend you that money, and it will lend it to you happily because it knows you will be paying this sum of money back for 30 years. During that 30 years, you will have paid that sum of money back several times over. It's the kind of amount of money that not too long ago, if you ask your parents, you could have bought a house with. So before you go on any degree, make sure that it's the right one for you, because you're going to be paying it back for 30 years and regretting it if you chose the wrong one. Now, the payments don't kick in until your salary exceeds, at the moment, £2,214 a month or £511 a week, and is calculated at 9% of interest of your earnings above this level. That's October 2020. By the way, the government changes this figure every few months on a regular basis, so do check back because they will change it all the time. The interest on your debt is currently, this is October 2020, 5.6%, but fluctuates with the retail price index. You pay RPI plus 3%. And your salary after graduation. Again, that changes every few months. For more information, please go to the web address I've just put on the screen there. That will tell you much greater detail, and you should definitely check this out to make sure you understand exactly what you're getting yourself into in terms of debt. The course fees do not cover art materials or trips to conferences and festivals. Other university features. We don't just do animation. Okay, we do have up-to-date high-end computing and software, of course, broadband Wi-Fi access everywhere. We are on something called the Janet network, which is one of the fastest bits of internet in the country. So at home, you've probably got Virgin or BT, and they're boasting, I don't know, 60, 70, 80 megabits a second transfer rate, whatever. The university runs on the Janet network, which is running at 20 megabytes a second, not megabits. That's like several orders of magnitude faster, phenomenally fast. Let's say, just for example, you had to download like an uncompressed DVD's worth of footage, perhaps because you've been filming something, 4.5 gigs of stuff. That would take about 3 minutes on our network. It's that fast. Obviously, don't download DVDs. That's not allowed. So we have 24-hour remote access computing. So if the labs are closed, you can access from your student accommodation. You can also go to our LRC. There's a copy of our labs in the Learning Resources Centre, which is the large library at the top of the hill on the College Lane campus. And if you need to find other students from the animation course at 3 o'clock in the morning, then that's always the room. They'll always be in there. There's always plenty of people up there. We have a great proximity to London and Soho. So the animation industry in the UK is almost entirely based in London, in Soho. The games industry is scattered around the country, but animation, VFX is all central London pretty much. So it takes 23 minutes by train from Hatfield to King's Cross, and there you are, you're in central London. It's not very far, it's very easy for us to come and see us, and it's very easy for students to go down for interviews. The university has thousands of societies and clubs. No matter how weird and wonderful your own personal habits and tastes are, there are other strange people here who want to do those odd things with you and to you. Just don't send me any more pictures, I scare easily. We have excellent sports facilities. The university was the training site for the British Olympic squad at the last Olympic Games, and they trained here using our facilities, so I guess that means they're really good. Student accommodation. All first years are offered a place on campus. Automatically, you've always got the room. The university built 2,500 extra rooms in 2014, so no student ever has to worry about whether their accommodation has been built before they arrive. It's already there. They're not building anymore. There's always enough for the first year. There's campus gym, 2 sports pitches, social spaces, common rooms, a central hub for student services, lots of that sort of thing. At the end of every academic year, we have our annual Animation Expose Festival. It's a wonderful celebration of the end of the course for that year. All the students in the course can compete to be on it, but only the very best will get shown. We'll show the best sort of 18 to 20 productions. In the morning of the festival, we have lots of companies will give talks about latest blockbusters, things they're working on. We see some amazing stuff often before it comes out anywhere else, and they talk about how they did it. It's a wonderful morning of you're just geeking out completely about animation and games. And then in the afternoon, the industry form a jury and they judge the work. They decide who wins the prizes. It's not the staff or anyone like that. They decide who wins the prizes, and obviously, if you're winning a prize, you're not only just going up on stage to receive a nice shiny thing to stick on your mantelpiece forever and ever. You're also usually getting a card from someone saying, "Ring me in the morning when you sober up," because they know what the party after this is like. So it's a lovely end of year's exhibition for all the students, and well, for the third years of this, sorry, and a celebration of everything we do. And it's a great party. Loads of the companies come to it. In a normal year, we'd have anywhere between 30 and 45 companies attending, because they know they want to hire our students before anyone else does. They have to be there on the day, and companies recruit direct. It's free to attend if you want to come. More information will be available on uhanimation.co.uk later in the year. If you want to see more of our films, we have a Vimeo channel. There's the link there. There's, I don't know, I think 300 or so films on there. Watch all of them. Well, please don't watch all of them. Your eyes will go square. But if you want to see the huge range of staggering quality of products and all the projects our students create, just go there and have a look at them. Now, serious slide here. Employment rates in the animation industry. Now, this is a slide that I don't think any other university will show you. When you've been looking at other universities to have a look at how good they are, and you've been comparing them, well, is this one better than this one, or whatever, you'll have come across some statistics by something called Unistats. Now, Unistats is the government's own statistics about each course, and you'll probably notice that almost every single course in the UK seems to say it's like 95% of the graduates get hired, and or 96% or whatever. It's a gigantic number. It all seems wonderful. Now, it all seems wonderful until you actually dig into where did Unistats get these numbers from, and are these numbers actually what you would think they mean? Now, I don't know how many of you understand whether you should trust a politician ever, but maybe you should think about this. So here's how Unistats calculates its numbers. What Unistats calls a job is, if you leave university and you happen to be saying, do you want fries with that? That's a job. Now, obviously, that is a job, but it's not a job that requires a degree. Okay, slightly more concerning than that, Unistat says if you're sitting at home writing a CV, applying to a company for a job, then that's a job as well. And I don't know about you, but I call that being unemployed. I do not call that employment. So the figures I'm showing you here are my recordings of all our students who actually get hired to work in the animation industry. Now, the rest of the students also get jobs, but not necessarily in the animation industry. They go off into other areas like graphic design or multimedia and things of that nature. But the people who actually came here to study and really do the thing they intended to do, these are the numbers for them. And you can see, if you go back from the years I've got the records going for, that roughly about 60% of our students go into the animation industry every year. Now, obviously, that's been hit by COVID, unfortunately. So the current students that graduated in June of 2020, we've had 25% of the students graduate. There's 25 graduates been hired so far. The previous year was also hit by COVID because, of course, my employment rates last for a year after you graduate. So the last half of the year that they graduated from was also in the COVID period. So at that point, we only have 50% of the students hired from that year. Now, what does that mean in terms of the actual industry as a whole? Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, but the animation industry in the UK is not large. Okay, at the moment, I think it's UKSA, the UK, or one of the organisations, UK Screen Alliance, worked out that there are about 12,000 jobs in animation in the UK. That's including games, visualisation, visual effects, animation of any kind. Literally 12,000 jobs. Now, UK universities produce 10,000 graduates from animation type courses every year. Doesn't take a mathematics genius to realise that those two numbers are not exactly great. And then if you think about how many junior positions are available in the industry every year, it's probably not more than 500. So the fact that a large proportion of those jobs go to our students is very impressive. Now, who else gets those jobs? Well, certainly up until Brexit happens, the competition for them is not other British students, it's the European students. Some of the best animation courses in the world are in fact just across the channel in France, in Germany, in Denmark, Belgium, the Netherlands. There are some amazingly talented courses out there. Those are the ones that we look at as our direct competitors, not the other British universities. So obviously things will change after Brexit. They won't necessarily be able to get over here so easily. And so we shall see how that's going to change the actual employment market in the UK. So there we go. That's COVID's affected that. Like I say, do ask other universities for their figures for this, because they're not usually very keen on telling you. They'll actually just want to tell you what the Unistats numbers are, because the Unistats numbers are lovely and make everything look like a beautiful rosy picture, when in fact it's not real. It really is hard to get a job. You have to be the best. You have to work phenomenally hard for 3 years, and 3 years is the absolute minimum time it takes to get someone up to a professional standard. So, like I say, if you're thinking about doing animation as a career, you have to be prepared for the fact you're going to have to work really, really hard for it. Okay, if you need to ask any questions, send us some whatever you want to do later on. There's me, Martin Bowman. There's my email address. Or feel free to contact Dan as well. He loves to get emails. He wants some fan mail. Send him an email too. There's a legal disclaimer, which I'll let you pause and you can read it later. And then thank you very much, because I've been talking long enough. And now I'm going to end this part of the presentation and move on to showing you some examples of work from all of our degrees. And I hope you'll enjoy those. Anyway, thank you for listening.
the only working model we've got left, okay? Just cut off the drone signal and try to get back here in one piece. Copy?
Yeah, I got it. Come on, you big toaster. Let's get out of here. Come on. Well, we can't both fit through there. Bring up the map. So we'll split up along here. I'll go ahead to drone control. You can, you'll figure something out.
Thank you for watching our presentation. We look forward to meeting you in future.